All right, hey guys, what's going on? It is Greg. It's really bright out today, and I can't see you with my sunglasses on because of the screen. Anyways, it's Greg, and I'm out in the field today. We're gonna do some distance driver work. Something I realized recently, as soon as I got sponsored, I tried to throw more Discraft stuff, which is what I originally started with on distance drivers, and recently was trying some other stuff and switched back and realized that my throw is a lot different than it was when I used to throw them. So I threw 2 of my favorite forces in a pond yesterday, so I thought it was time to get some practice in with some distance drivers. So I got a big tub of different distance drivers here that we're going to try out today, and we'll just talk through each of them, but we're gonna get warmed up with some mids first. All right, we're gonna start on the flippier end. I usually consider like 11 speed and up as distance drivers, and so we're gonna start with some Scorches. I've thrown this one quite a few times, kind of hyzer flip wood shots. Another first run, I just like to have duplicates of stuff. I'm dropping discs. I picked up this used Esp Scorch yesterday, so I don't know how the ESPs fly in comparison, so we're gonna check that out. And then a Hades. The Hades has been in my bag for a bit. It's kind of my turnover distance driver. So we'll start there and then throw the Scorches to compare. They can fill a similar spot in the bag. They're just slightly different speeds and different feel. Hades first. It's a nice big flexing turnover. I'm gonna throw the Scorch that I know. Should fly pretty similar to that. I got that one a little nose up. Lost a lot of distance, so see if I can fix it with the yellow one. Those are more stable than I remember them being. So let's see how the ESP flies. Yeah, like I thought, the ESP was significantly more flippy than the other one. So I think Scorches could work. I need some more practice with the Z's. I don't think I'm gonna throw the ESP Scorch. Hades, the thing always flies nice. So let's move on to a disc I haven't thrown really. And I know these are 2 separate molds, but I have 2 Surge SS's and a Surge. I have no idea how these are gonna fly. I've never thrown any of them, so I'll start with the Surge SS's. I'll throw the Surge last. Hopefully I can get a good rip on them. It's a little muddy over here, so I'm actually going to move us. Stock Stand Peak Surge SS. Yeah, stayed on hyzer. Kind of expected a little flip, but nothing. So I'm gonna try to throw this one a little flatter. This is a metallic, so it's probably gonna be even more stable. So I'm gonna try to smash it a little flat. See if we can get a nice turn or something. Kind of got over on that one a little too much. All right, now let's see how the Big Z Ledgestone Surge flies in comparison. It's pretty good. I don't really feel like I'm getting super clean releases right now. The ground is still pretty muddy, and so I don't have the greatest footing, but just trying to get a feel for things. So I like those. It's hard to know how much better those, like Surge versus Zeus versus a Force versus a Hurricane, all stuff I have coming up to try. So I'm gonna go pick those up and then we'll jump into some more discs. So out of that batch, Esp Scorch is too flippy. The Surge SS and the Surge, so the SS I would typically think would make it flippier, but it's just like a Surge without fade, and so it's pretty torque resistant, flies very straight, but just has no fade off to it, which could actually be a good spot in my bag. Most of my distance drivers have pretty hard fade on them, so I kind of like that, but the Surge SS and the Surge are going to need a lot more practice. The Z first run Scorches are good, but they are like the same as the Hades, and I have a lot more time in with the Hades. I am hoping to get a Z Hades at some time because I would like something slightly more stable than the ESP. But those have been hard to come by, so we'll keep throwing this guy. Hopefully it doesn't get too flippy. I also like how it's the ugliest disc I've ever seen. The Scorches will kind of be the backup to the Hades in case something happens to it. So we're gonna move on now to, we're gonna throw a stack of Zeus's. Zeus's were my go-to distance driver, first go-to distance driver for me. So I have a big collection of throwers, and then they've been sitting on the shelf for a bit. It was at the time when I wasn't throwing as far, the strikes were a little bit easier to get distance with, so I'm interested to see what kind of distance I can get on these. Trying to remember which ones are more stable and which ones aren't, but we're just gonna give them all a rip and see how they go. I do have one, they're all just like the stock stamp. I do have one first run Zeus and then a big Z, so I don't remember how they fly, so I'm gonna just throw them all flat, see what they do. It's been a while since I've thrown a Zeus, so we'll start with big Z. Straight, stable. I'm not gonna give these 100%, but just see how they go. This is the best feeling one I have. Sometimes the ESP plastic comes out and it's like nice and grippy, and sometimes it's too slick. This is a really good grippy one. Oh, like I said, the ground sucks right now, so that was a pretty good flight. I know the first run, it's a little more slick plastic, so that's why I never bagged it much, but we'll see if I can get a good grip on it. Little bit of flip. I think I've thrown 3. This was my go-to straight one back in the day, so we'll see how this one flies. Yeah, that one got some good turn on it. That one was nice. And this used to be my most stable one. All right, this one has a slight more dome to it, so should glide a little more, also be a little stable, so I'm gonna try to hit this one flat. That was a good rip. This was just a backup I had. Ooh, I don't know why that one was in backup. That flew nice. It's another semi-straight one. I threw this a little bit before I stopped throwing Zeus's originally, so we'll see how this one goes. Little flip up, but still pretty stable. All right, I forgot I had one more first run. So the first runs tend to be a little flatter, potentially a little flippier. So we'll see if I get some nice turn on this guy. Yeah, those are all fairly decent. I do like the disc because I have a big stack of them, so I have a bunch of different stabilities and stuff. So I'm gonna go pick those up and then we'll move on. I have really 3 more molds to kind of throw and think about. All right, so I collected my Zeus's and I collected my thoughts, and from seeing where they went out there, it kind of looks like the Zeus's, they kind of go a similar distance, similar flight to my Halo Strikes. So it's good to know if I need to replace those tomorrow, the Zeus's could do it. My problem with the Zeus is the inconsistency of grip of the plastic. I don't know what it is about this ESP in particular. I don't know if I got a bunch of these from one mold, but some of them feel very waxy and my fingers just don't grip well. I have a couple that grip really well and I enjoy throwing those. But secondly, it's just not as deep. Like, maybe it just doesn't feel as deep. I don't know what the actual measurements are. I just know I pick up a force and I feel like I'm like just grabbing like a baseball bat, versus the Zeus it just feels shallow. It feels like there's less confidence induced by the grip of a Zeus in my hand. And so while these did fly good and I'm still gonna keep them around, still gonna work them into field work, I don't think they're gonna go in the bag right at this moment. So we'll use that segue, talking about forces, into my stack of forces. Like I said, I threw 2 of my favorite forces in the pond yesterday, so I got a couple in here that are new to me, a couple that I throw a lot, so we will see how these go. Yeah, 4 ESP Zeuses, varying amounts of dome on them. This lightweight Z one that got brand new, or not brand new to me, picked it up yesterday at Kaposia. It's only like a 167, so interested to see how that flies, but it's very flat. And then this is the meat hook of all meat hooks. I had a buddy give this to me for Christmas. It's a 2015 Ledgestone Edition Crystal Flex Sparkle Force. This is the most stable disc I've ever thrown. Forces in general are not an extremely overstable disc, but this thing, I don't know if you can see how flat it is. If I have ripping 30-mile-an-hour headwind, I can throw this on forehand, backhand, and know that it's not going to turn over on me like some of these other forces. So I'm not gonna, I'll throw it so you guys can see how stable it is, but I'll throw it first, then I'll throw the Z, and then the stack of ESPs. So immediately out of my hand, just gets to the ground. Let's go Z, lightweight Z. Fairly stable. I forgot to mention, I typically like to use forces as a hyzer disc, so throw it out on slight hyzer, let it carry that, I don't know, 350 plus. That's my goal with a force. It's not necessarily maximum distance, but these ESPs will be a little bit straighter, I think. Straight with the dump. This one's a little flatter. That was a bit of a shank. And then this black one's a new one I picked up. It's a little domey. I don't know how it's gonna fly. Flies like a force. So the force flight for me is similar to the Zeus, but it carries further on hyzer than the Zeus, and then kind of just finishes. Sorry about my hair, it's going crazy. So I hope to throw those a little bit shorter than the Zeus's, but carry a little higher, a little more hyzer. So I'm gonna go pick those up, see if I have any more thoughts, and then move on to the next discs. So yeah, just like I thought, these forces, most of them, other than the Stable Boy, was about, I don't know, 30 feet short of where the Zeus's landed. The nice thing about the forces though is I can throw them on that more predictable hyzer line to get that distance. So forces are something I actually really enjoy, especially these ESP ones. Slight hyzer, they just carry and then dump reliably. So I feel like I can place this disc better than almost any other distance driver, but I do sacrifice a little bit of distance. So yeah, those are my forces. These will be in the bag at this point as a kind of controlled distance driver for me. So we're gonna drop these in the bucket, and then we're gonna pick up some nukes. All right, here is my stack of nukes. I got 2 ESP, 1 really beat up white big Z, and then my Z nuke. Nukes right now are kind of my go-to forehand driver. Not working on forehands today, but I actually like the deeper rim, not deeper rim, the bigger rim on forehand. Something about how it lines up with my fingers just feels very comfortable to me. So I've thrown a lot of nukes. They've never been a max distance backhand driver for me, but I also haven't really tried them much. So I'm hoping I can get some of these out there with a little bit of turn, so similar flight to the Zeus's, maybe push even a little bit further. So I'm gonna start with the most stable, which is most likely gonna be this Z1. This is also the one I've thrown the most, so we'll start there and then we'll work our way down. That felt pretty good. This is a ESP nuke that's been in my bag quite a bit. A little less stable than that, so hopefully I can get a flex on it, but with this tailwind, I don't know. That was honestly just a bad release, so try it again with this other ESP nuke. This one's very domey compared to the other one. Yeah, that's more of what I was hoping for. So a little bit of turn, a little bit of push. And this one's probably the least stable of them all. So let's throw this big Z. So yeah, good flex on that. Nukes feel pretty good to me. The wider rim doesn't really bother me like it does some people, so I'm gonna head down there, pick up my nukes, and then we'll talk through them a bit. So I was actually surprised when I got down there. I thought this big Z nuke was gonna be the bomber on the furthest distance. I had the fullest flight, a little bit of turn on it, and when I got down there, this new to me one that I picked up yesterday was actually the furthest, and it didn't seem like it flew that far. So that's something I'm learning is you would think max distance means you get this full S flight, and with certain discs that's not always the case. Sometimes you can get a straight flight with a glidier disc. This is more dome than this, so I'm imagining it just held up in the air longer because it was a little glidier, even though it didn't get quite as full of a flight. So I like nukes. They're kind of situational. I feel like with this speed you're giving up a little bit of control, and so I kind of keep them around for big bombs, and like I said, forehands, especially the Z nukes for my forehand. So nukes, probably have 1 or 2 in the bag, but I don't need all of these all the time because probably throw them just a couple times each round. We're gonna jump into my last set of discs, and they are discs I've never thrown before, so I'm excited to try them out. All right, so I got these 2 matching Hurricanes. I've never thrown a Hurricane. I also have a Hypercane. I did have a Hypercane for a while. It's kind of like a 12 speed, that Ledgestone, that 2015 Ledgestone Force. They're very stable. I do like them on forehand. I'm a force over forehand player. Baseball world made that a little more accessible to me. So I don't really do hyzer flip forehands, but nice little force over. So this could be a good complement to the nuke as something slightly more stable. But I'm gonna throw it backhand just to see how it flies, and then I'm gonna throw these Hurricanes. I'm hoping these are forces, but with a little more turn, like maybe closer to the Zeus, but with a better hand feel. They definitely feel more force than Zeus in the hand. So we'll see how they fly. I'll start with the Hypercane, just to see how crazy it flies. I'm gonna try to throw it flat, but these things are very, very stable. Oh boy, get to the ground. Yeah, it just gets to the ground, especially with this tailwind. So I have 2 of these Hurricanes. The first one I'm just gonna throw flat to see how it flies, and then I might make an adjustment on the second one. So plastic actually feels very good, the PL plastic from DGA. Okay. I think I can power up a little more on it. See if I can get some more flex. All right, so that's got like the flight of a Zeus with the feel of a Force. I am liking them a lot. Those are brand new, and everything else I threw is beat in a little bit, so I assume those will be a little straighter as they beat in. I'm gonna go pick them up, and then we'll wrap up. So of all the overstable discs we threw today, the one that flew the furthest and most similar to my Shrikes was actually these Hurricanes in the PL plastic. I think especially when they beat in, these things will be bombers. I'm actually really impressed for my first time throwing them. Hurricane. So we will see how they age over time. I need to put a lot more field work with them. But as of right now, I think Forces, Hurricanes, some nukes for forehand and like max distance open shots, and yeah, I'm not sure, Scorches, Hades, I don't know. I throw forehand a lot, so I don't throw a lot of really flippy discs. I love how they fly, but to me they're pretty unpredictable, so we'll see how the lineup progresses over time. I'm not making any commitments to any discs at this point, just hoping to put in a lot of field work over the next couple weeks and figure out what works. Waiting for these bikers to pass through. Also really difficult to do field work in the wind, but that seems to be the time of year we're in where it's always windy and always cold, and I think we're supposed to get a bunch of snow this week, so I thought I'd get out here and get some thoughts down. Yeah, I recorded this really to help myself so I can watch back and look at my form, analyze that a bit, also to remember how these discs flew, to kind of ingrain that in me. So this video is more for me than for you, but if you found it helpful, like and subscribe, and I'll be continuing to put out more disc info. My link is down below for the Ledgestone store. If you want to shop there, that would be great. They are great supporters, so thankful to have them on my side and going into this season. So shop Ledgestone. See you guys later. Peace.